Hello, welcome back to another video of Humanity Awakened. This video, I want to talk about the first and most important step when it comes to healing, and that is awareness. I had to get my awareness, I mentioned this, through ayahuasca. It was a very intense experience. It was the worst thing I ever did and the best thing I ever did, because the experience itself, I'd say it's a combination of me resisting the ayahuasca, my innate nature, and the intensity of the ayahuasca, and what I had inside of my mind, in my subconscious, and deep stuff. All those things, and where I was consciously at the time, made it super intense. And it was something I was very scary. But afterwards, the awareness that came with it was the best thing that ever happened to me. My past is one of growing up in a religious community, going to private schools, Jewish schools. And so I thought that, everything was like handled and covered. And unfortunately, the topic of mental health and trauma is like super tabooed, I would say, or just not spoken about. I think it has to do with like a lack of awareness from the overall world out there, that whole world, and the denial and the shame factor of just not being perfect and being a human. That's just my take on it. But the first step, no matter what, is whatever the background is to have awareness. You don't necessarily have to take ayahuasca, I would say. I would emphasize that your childhood really is like the bread and butter. It's the majority of how you behave right now stems from your childhood, from the ages up till about 7, I believe, is how that affects so much of your behavior, your current behavior. So if you went through any type of abuse, physical, sexual, verbal, or emotional neglect, racial, poverty, violence, those types of things, just dysfunction. And, we live in a world where like Western world, where it's such a taboo topic, but it's so relevant. It's so important. It impacts everything that you do. Most of it is stemming from, most of your behavior is not conscious. It's stuff that comes from the subconscious, stuff that you've experienced, how your perspectives are in relationships, romantic, friendships, your perspectives on sexual things, on money, on just life, on everything that you do. It stems from the home, and like those formative years. And if you and a lot of the time, like if it's not spoken about and it's taboo and it just gets buried into the back of your mind, you're gonna go through life. A lot of people go through life not even living, because they don't have that awareness. They don't realize how much of their behavior is impacted not for the positive, but for the negative, due to the past that they've experienced. Whether they have trust issues, whether they have negative relationships with like those things I mentioned, sex and money, and which is like a huge parts of life. Your relationships, which is like the most important parts. Your happiness, purpose, all these different things. If you don't have that awareness, it's gonna get in the way, and a lot of ways of coping are not healthy ways. If you don't even know, like, why am I doing this? Why am I self-sabotaging? And it's because of that lack of awareness, because of that pain that you're in. That's a deeper pain that that you've minimalized, that you've denied as a way to cope, as a way to just live. So the first step I'd say is to have awareness, get educated, psychoeducation on. That is such a vital thing, to get psychoeducated. That means get a psychology 101, trauma awareness, trauma healing 101, and start learning about it, and start to go from there, and to realize, oh, I had neglect, oh, I had this abuse, oh, I had that, and to realize that has a huge impact on your life and on your current behaviors. And you can change that once you have that conscious awareness, and you realize, based off of from learning, that, oh, I'm behaving this way, or I'm using this to cope, or I'm doing that to cope, and I'm realizing oh, I'm self-sabotaging in this way or that way, you can then use that knowledge to change that behavior, to start feeling that those feelings that you've been suppressing, to start acknowledging grieving and raging are the two most important things. So start acknowledge that you had grieve and rage over the childhood that you didn't have, over the abuse that you had, unfortunately, but use it for good and use it to heal. So step number one, no matter what, first things first, have the courage to get that awareness and to know you're not stuck. You can heal from it, you can grow from it, and live life at a way higher level.